Did any team have a weirder month leading up to the start of training camp than the New York Football Giants? My answer is, in a nutshell, is no. But we're going to get to all that because we have great value today, boys and girls. Our bets, our best bet for the Giants is magnificent. And we want you to hear us out on how we get to that point. It's the 14th of 32 team previews of the NFL 2023 season coming up. I am Jim Derry. This is bet.nola.com, powered by the Dattitude Podcast. Brian Daboll back for a second year, improved greatly. Can he do it again? I'm not ready to tell you. You're going to have to wait through the intro and hear my reasonings. Well, thanks for making it through the intro. Where you at? How you doing? What the hell's going on? Tell you what, the New York Giants are hoping they can start as fast as they did in 2022. Man, got it up on my screen. I still can't say it. 2022. See, it's not that hard. Man, they took the league by storm, didn't they? They started off 7-2, and everybody said, hey, the Giants, man, where have they been? Brian Daboll is the automatic coach of the year. Incredible. They started 7-2. They're going to the playoffs. Well, they did go to the playoffs, but they finished third in the division. They had a rough finish, winning just 2 out of their last 7 regular season games before kind of limping into the playoffs, really. And I said 7. I think it's 2 out of their last 8. They finished 9-7-1 after starting out 7-2. You do the math. I'm too tired to figure out math, and I'm terrible at math anyway. So there you go. But even with his expected easy schedule, which is a big part of the reason, don't let anybody fool you. The Giants had, I think it was the 30th easiest schedule in the NFL, at least going into it. So we thought they would be better last year. Daniel Jones took a step forward. He had a career high in passing yards. He had a career high in completion percentage. And he had a career low in interceptions. He threw just 5 interceptions in 16 games last year. But does that warrant a 4-year, $160 million contract? Meanwhile, your real best player, Saquon Barkley, the running back from Penn State, who finishing out his rookie contract, are they going to bring him back? Are they not going to bring him back? It took forever to find out. He said no. It looked for a good while like he wasn't going to come back, and finally agreed to a 1-year, $11 million deal. Again, we've talked about my lack of prowess in the math department, but you're giving Daniel Jones $40 million a year, and you're giving Saquon Barkley $11 million a year. Okay. If you say so, that's why you're the Giants. Not like the Giants have this great offensive line either. I mean, they were 28th in the league, but ranked by PFF coming into the offseason. They are 29th now. In fact, RotoWire also has them at 28th. And you see these numbers. Look, Saquon Barkley basically did it by himself. He's got they had a 4th ranking. They were 4th best in the NFL in rushing yardage, 26th best in the NFL in passing, Mr. Daniel Jones, 18th overall. Again, all had to do with Saquon Barkley. What did they do in the receiving department to help Daniel Jones? Well, the first thing they did, and they did make a big splash and got a great deal on just trading a 3rd-round pick to the Raiders to get tight end Darren Waller. But, Waller has had trouble staying healthy. Is he going to be able to? So far in training camp, he's looked fantastic, and he and Daniel Jones have been hooking up. He's going to have to be great again because he is probably the biggest threat this team has. They also signed in free agency Paris Campbell from the Colts. So are these two guys going to be the answer to the woes on offense, especially in the passing game that the Giants have had? Again, struggle on the offensive line. They drafted in the 3rd round who's going to come in and start right away. Center John Michael Schmitz is going to start. Is he going to be key, this offensive line? Again, we're talking about a unit that is ranked in the bottom 5 by PFF, and that's going to be a problem. When you're trying to start a running game, get it cranked, and Saquon Barkley, again, on a 1-year deal, is he going to want to stay here if they don't make improvements on the O-line, if they don't take a step forward? I'm not sure. Let's talk about the defense. You see the numbers there on your screen. 14th against the pass, 27th against the run, which adds up to 25th against 25th overall, excuse me. And look, I love Kayvon Thibodeau, and I'm a big fan of his, and not just because he's got a last name that fits in here in Louisiana, even though he went to Oregon. But there's just not enough. Adoree Jackson's a fine cornerback. I just don't know if they have enough to get any better. They play in the division against Dallas and against Philadelphia. Those are the teams they struggled most against last year. 5 of their losses last year, 5 of their losses, including in the playoffs, came against Dallas, came against Philadelphia, including the loss in the playoffs to the Eagles where they just got bombarded. They tried to make it look good at the end of the regular season with a 6-point loss, but Philadelphia went back to being the Eagles when it counted in the playoffs to beat them in the divisional round. Wasn't even close. So what about this year? Let's take a look at the schedule, because this schedule to me, and remember I told you in the beginning of this show, before even the intro, that there's one of the biggest values, I think, in the entire NFL when you're talking about over-under totals is with these Giants, and I'm going to tell you why. We're going to go to the schedule, and it to me, it's super clear. Although it says it's the 12th toughest schedule in the NFL, here's where I have a problem with the Giants, because to me, they're going to be lucky to start off 2-4. I think they're staring 1-5 right in the face. Opening up at home against Dallas, sure, they can win on a Sunday night, but I don't think they're gonna. So if that ends up being a loss, they go to Arizona, let's say they win at Arizona. You tell me how many games they're going to win out of the next 4, because they have a stretch here. 4 out of 5 games on the road, including 2 on the West Coast, and those 2 you see there at Arizona, at San Francisco. Let's say they start 1-2. Are they going to beat Seattle at home on a Monday night? Are they going to go to Miami and win? Are they going to go to Buffalo and win? So I think best case scenario, you're talking about 2-4. Maybe they beat the Commanders in Week 7. I don't think they're going to beat the Jets. And then they have a 3-game stretch on the road again, at Vegas, at Dallas, at Washington, home for New England. To me, that middle stretch is the easiest for them to do anything before finishing up tough again, in my opinion. A late bye week, Week 13, play Green Bay at home on a Monday night against, again, a Jordan Love team. And by the way, that game might be flexed by them. I think there are 2 possibilities to have flexes, and Green Bay may end up being one of them. Then you travel to New Orleans, travel to Philadelphia on a Christmas afternoon before finishing up at home against the Rams in Philadelphia. I guess the only good news is you don't play Philadelphia until the end of the season. First game against the Eagles is not until Christmas. Remember when they snowballed Santa Claus? At least this one's in New York, so or at the Meadowlands, so it's in New Jersey. But I don't know what they're going to. Santa Claus might not give a crap about this team by then. And why? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Drum roll, please. Look, I think this is going to be one of the more disappointing teams of the year. I really do. I don't like this schedule. They were 4-13 2 years ago. I think they're headed back down that path. If I thought Darren Waller could stay healthy and Paris Campbell could contribute enough to make a difference, then maybe I'd have something better for the Giants, but I just don't see it. I think Daniel Jones, giving him that kind of contract, was a mistake. And I think Saquon Barkley is just looking for a reason to go elsewhere. He's still young enough. He can still be dominating somewhere else for 4 or 5 more years after this one. Why would you stay with this team? Look, I think Brian Daboll came in and was a breath of fresh air, but this schedule is just brutal, in my opinion. It doesn't set up well to get started, and I think this team needs a hot start to go anywhere. You saw what they did after a 7-2 start last year. It didn't work. What are they going to do after a 2-4 start or a 1-5 start? It's not good. 4-13. So one of my best bets of the entire preview season is the under 7.5 wins for the Giants. Even if they do go on a mini stretch in that middle section that we showed you earlier, I don't see them getting to eight wins. I don't see there's any way they get to 8 wins with this schedule. So you can book it, Dano. Come back and talk to me later on and tell me I was wrong if you don't want to bet on it. But I think minus 120 is a small price to pay. Under 7.5 wins for the New York Giants. We'll see what we think about the defending division champs and NFC champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, tomorrow. We already told you what we thought about Dallas. It was a bit of a spoiler alert, but talk Eagles tomorrow.